Hi guys, it's France. A new week, so we're starting with a new spread, and I'm still working in my handmade heavy watercolor paper art journal. I'm starting with a napkin that I stole from my own kitchen because I liked it and I thought it would make a cool background for this page. But before I glue down my napkin, I want to make sure that the ink that I will be using won't be colorizing my whole journal. So I'm laying down a strip of masking tape. This is real do-it-yourself masking tape so that everything is protected. It took me a little less than an hour to do this page, so you'll have a 15-minute video out of it. To glue down my napkin, I'm using decoupage glue, which is really made to do this kind of crafting. Securing everything down and then doing the same on the other side. I got myself a special decoupage glue brush, and I must say it's the first time I'm really convinced this brush was made to use with this glue. I've killed several of my brushes with this decoupage glue, so I'm happy I got this one. Ripping off the excess of the napkin all around my page. And now I can go in with some gesso to blend it in a bit with the paper of the journal. I'm applying my gesso with a brayer because I wanted to keep it a thin layer. I still want my napkin to be visible. Now while doing this, I realized my napkin wasn't completely glued down, so I will have to go back in with some glue to secure it a bit better. And as you can see, I'm really insisting at the top of my napkin so that it really looks like it's flowing out of the paper instead of laying on top of it. Now I'm drying my gesso so I can go back in with the glue and make sure that the napkin will stay on the paper instead of sticking to my brayer. And then adding even more gesso. Now this white gesso will act as a resist with the colors that I want to use. So I'm also adding a bit of clear gesso because clear gesso is absorbent. It will absorb the color that I will spray on top of it. So this way I will have spots with my white gesso that will resist the color, and I will have spots with the clear gesso that will absorb the colors, which will make for a fun textured background. While my napkin will still remain visible, because if I would have done this with absorbent ground dries white, and my napkin wouldn't have been as much visible as it is now with the clear gesso. And my napkin is still moving around, so I'm going back in again with some more decoupage glue. Now I'm protecting my journal so that the color won't go everywhere. As you can see, I had to take a piece of the napkin away. But that's okay, I'll cover it up later on. So, securing my book. First I'm spraying some water, and then I can go in with my Color X, which is a water-soluble color. And I'm moving it around with my brush, which I dip in water to blend the two colors together. Now, if I wouldn't have put down a strip of masking tape, this color would seep through all the pages of my book. Adding some more color and then blending it again. As you can see, there are some spots that only have decoupage glue, which is a resist. There are some spots that have white gesso that pick a bit of the color, and then the clear gesso picks a lot of the color. Adding some splatters of water to make it a bit more interesting. And this way you can't even see it was a napkin to begin with. Now I want to stamp this with white StazOn, but as I don't clean my stamps, there are a lot of inks dried up on there. StazOn is a solvent-based ink, so it will dilute the inks that are on my stamp. So if I want my white StazOn to stay white, I have to clean my stamp for once. And now I'm stamping it, and as the background has a lot of white shades on it, so the stamp is really soft and really mixed in with the background. This is the image that I wanted to use last week and then changed my mind because it was making me so sad. I've had it on my desk for a week, so now I'm used to look at it. So now I'm ready to use it in my journal. And the strip of printed lace is a Graphic 45 trim. And I'm just gluing it down with double-sided tape. This way my little boy doesn't seem to float on the paper. He has a base to hide behind. I'm blending him in with the background using a charcoal pencil. And then a blending stump to blend it in even more with the background. So I'm really giving him a shade. The image was originally on a postcard, so I couldn't tell you where it came from. It was a postcard that made advertisement for theater piece, I think. I'm going back in with some gesso all around, very softly with my finger to accentuate the texture on the paper. Because I applied the gessos, both gessos with my brayer, it gives a fun texture on the paper. Now I want to use this stamp, but I only want to use a piece of it, so I'm using post-its as a mask so that I don't have ink all over. And I'm using my stamp positioner so that I can have the image exactly where it is I want it to have. If you'd like to know how to use a stamp positioner, I made a video about it. You can find it on my channel. Now I'm stamping my image, and as my background is very textured, I know I will have a very soft stamping, not the complete image will be stamped correctly. As it's a bit too soft, I'm going back in with a water-soluble pencil, black pencil, very lightly. I don't want it to be too hard. I want to keep it soft. So I'm adding a bit of water, and I'm even taking a bit of the water away to keep it soft. I want my letters to be visible, but not to scream. And as I want my letters to be a bit more defined, I'm going back in with a pit pen, but again, very, very softly. I'm not redefining every letter completely. I'm adding black soot distress ink on the edges to make the color on the page pop even more. Then I want to add a bit of texture on the top of my page, so I'm going over this stencil with molding paste. You could do the same with gesso. The only difference is that molding paste will give you more texture than the gesso. Now I want to add the same on top of my page, but I don't want to cover up my wording, my word stamp, so I'm covering it up before adding the molding paste. Voila! Taking the excess of molding paste away at the top. And now that it's dry, I want to blend it in with the background again. So I'm going in with some pen pastels. I'm using a permanent red tint and magenta color. If you want all the details about all the products I use, all the colors I use, you can find them on my blog. For every video I make, I have a blog post with the complete list of ingredients. So check it out if you want to see that list. It's always on France Papillon. Now I'm also using the neutral gray extra dark pen pastel to distress the edges of my spread even more. I want that black to stand out a bit more, and this pen pastel is a good way to do this, adding a bit more shade to my sad little guy. At this point I thought I was done, so I was going in with my date stamp using archival ink, which I could be doing with just about any ink. But first I wanted to add a bit of journaling. That's what an art journal is for, in my opinion. And as usual, I'm going in with black and then with white. And then later that evening, I decided I wanted to add a bit of a rusty look to it. So I'm mixing up a raw sienna acrylic paint with an interference gel, which will give it a bit of a shine, so that it doesn't look too dull on the paper. And I'm softly applying it with my finger all around the molding paste. Once this was done, it was looking too brown, so I went back in, this time with a rich gold acrylic paint, so that it would look less brown but still be shiny. I'm softening it down using a baby wipe. And then to blend it back with the background, I'm going back in with my pen pastels, but this time only on top of the brown and golden acrylic paint to accentuate the background color again. And once this is done, I will just take the excess away using a dry cloth. I hope you liked today's video. I had a lot of fun making it. Have a happy week. See you back next week. Ta-da!